The police say she threatened an insurance company with the phrase delay, denied, depose. An arrest affidavit obtained by WFLA said the FBI contacted the Lakeland Police Department on Tuesday with information about an alleged threat. According to the affidavit, 42-year-old Brianna Boston used the phrase during a call with Blue Cross Blue Shield about a denied claim. Delay, denied, depose. You people are next, she allegedly said near the end of the call. The words are similar to the message left. Nice. Hey, no free speech. Oh, it's so cooked. And this is under the federal control, the last month of Democratic Party's federal control. We're so fucking cooked. We're so cooked. Any good lawyer will clear her with zero problem. Yeah, except good luck. She reportedly said she used the phrase because it's what's in the news right now. Boston argues she did not own firearms and was not a danger to anyone, the affidavit said. Police concluded that she intended to use the United Healthcare CEO's homicide to her advantage. It's getting worse. It's getting worse every day. Yeah. Also, the idea that you think this person has the capabilities of hiring a competent lawyer when she very clearly is cooked. After being charged with threats to conduct a mass shooting or an act of terrorism, a judge set Boston's bond at $100,000. I do find that the bond of $100,000 is appropriate considering the status of our country at this point, the judge said. Wow. You think a person who's 42 years old, who's on the phone with Blue Cross Blue Shield over a denied claim, has the capabilities of hiring a fucking fat, competent lawyer to get this shit, to get her off on this? We're so goddamn cooked. We're so fucking cooked. It's not precedent. I think it's just Florida. I mean, it is precedent. It's precedent for Florida. It will have national implications, You can't do it. You cannot. You can't have a fucking moment of weakness when the insurance company is directly fucking you. You can't turn around and be like, fuck you. Yeah, here's a cool tidbit from, if you want to understand the Polk County Sheriff's Department. We're going to shoot you a lot, Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd says that the gunman who was killed by deputies in a standoff chose to get shot when he pointed his firearm at law enforcement. If you point a gun at us, we're going to shoot you. We're going to shoot you a lot. All right.
The healthcare CEO murder. Investigations say the ghost gun the suspect was allegedly carrying when he was arrested matches the shell casings found at the shooting scene. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky is here with more. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning to you, Michael. The evidence really does seem to be falling into place now against Luigi Mangione, and the problem for authorities at the moment may not be the case, but how the suspect is being perceived.
This morning, police say the case against suspected killer Luigi Mangione is getting stronger.
We were able to match that gun to the 3 shell casings that we found in Midtown at the scene of the homicide.
Investigators also say they've matched Mangione's fingerprints to prints lifted from a water bottle and granola bar wrapper found near where United Healthcare Chief Brian Thompson was gunned down. The 26-year-old remains locked up in Pennsylvania, challenging his extradition to New York. Prosecutors are undeterred.
You confident you have the right guy in the shooting of Brian Thompson?
Well, I'll start by saying, obviously, this is a profoundly disturbing, as we've alleged, murder.
I should have never saved District Attorney Alvin Bragg in Walking Dead. At the time, I thought he's going to put Trump behind bars, Boy, was that a mistake. Holy moly. God damn, dude. AJ.
We would not charge the person if we didn't think it was the person, and we're prepared to go forward.
Investigators have started interviewing relatives, hoping to understand how a high school valedictorian and Ivy League graduate from a prominent Maryland family became an accused killer. His grandfather was a self-made millionaire real estate developer. The family owns a resort, country clubs, radio stations, and donates to healthcare companies in Baltimore. The Mangione Aquatic Center at Loyola University is named for the family.
They had a lot of clout and have a lot of clout to this day.
Thompson's murder prompting backlash against the healthcare and insurance industries. The NYPD is alarmed the alleged killer is seen by some as a martyr, inspiring these wanted posters outside the New York Stock Exchange with the names of other corporate executives. A new law enforcement bulletin obtained by ABC News.
Yeah, they're going to arrest people that even post those posters, by the way, for sure. I suspect that because there's so much of it out there, I don't know if they can go after every single person online, but they'll try to pick some people and make an example out of them. They'll also go after the people that are like posting these posters and shit. Like they will definitely come after a couple people to make sure that you get the message that no, you can't be saying shit like that. Now, what's really interesting about this is free speech is supposed to be protected. This is like the exact opposite, right? Because even putting out like terroristic threats against trans people or whatever, that doesn't put you directly in the ire of federal law enforcement or law enforcement at all. As long as you are directing your anger at those who have less than you, you're good. If you're Tom Cotton, you can openly call for Black Lives Matter protesters to be gunned down. If you're Tom Cotton, you can call directly for climate change protesters to be ran over, to be tossed off the side of a bridge if they are pro-Palestinian protesters or blocking traffic. No censuring there, no nothing, no repercussions whatsoever. God forbid you put a poster up of publicly available information. You can be libs of TikTok and encourage actual bomb threats over and over again, doxing and putting random working class people in harm's way because libs of TikTok has decided that a teacher is bad for being queer. All right. That's not unacceptable at all. As a matter of fact, that's very acceptable and good. You should do more of that. But God forbid you post a photo of something that's publicly available, a photo of a CEO. Ooh, you can't do that. You can't do that. Please, for the love of God, don't turn the crosshairs up at people at the tippy top of society. Don't. What the fuck? What are you doing? Keep fighting amongst yourselves. Keep fighting against those who have less than you. What are we doing here? You can't be doing that.
Includes this image of a banner invoking the words found on the shooter's bullets. The bulletin warning many social media users have outright advocated for the continued killings of CEOs, with some aiming to spread fear by posting hit lists.
What do you make of people celebrating the murder of Brian Thompson or someone who sees in the suspect someone to take inspiration from?
Celebrating this conduct is abhorrent to me. It's deeply disturbing. And what I would say to members of the public, we will be vigilant and we will hold people accountable. We will do that.
United Health emailed employees overnight telling them what you do matters. But there's real fear the murder of Brian Thompson has revealed a deep sense of frustration and anger aimed at the entire health insurance industry.
Yeah, and that fear is really real, really real. But what is the reward on this status, of the status of the reward?
There was some, $50,000, $60,000 offered. It's still being worked out, and apparently there was some question as to whether, because 911 was called and not Crime Stoppers in New York, whether it should actually be.
Oh, come on.
But
really?
Look, if it weren't for the heads up customer and employee
So it's
at
more of a
McDonald's.
split thing, right?
It should be a split thing with the feds getting involved, but they seem to deserve it. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been a break in the case.
And let's hope the guy who called 911 gets that reward in the end. Okay, Aaron, thank you.
Now to major developments in the investigation of the murder of the United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. The suspect's mother filed a missing persons report days before the shooting. And police now say there is hard evidence connecting Luigi Mangione to the murder. Lilia Luciano is in Huntington, Pennsylvania, where Mangione is being held. Lilia, good morning.
Good morning to you, Adriana. You might remember those bullet casings that were found at the scene of the crime that read deny, delay, and possibly depose. Well, those have now, according to ballistic analysis, been matched to the ghost gun that was found with the suspect, Luigi Mangione. This is the first time that forensic evidence, according to NYPD, places him at the scene of the murder. Shell casings found at the scene where United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was killed matched the 3D printed ghost gun 26-year-old Luigi Mangione had in his possession when he was arrested.
He's framed. It's fake. CEO didn't even die, actually. He's alive still. It's a psyop. I'm going to be a conspiracy guy in the Trump administration, but like a weird conspiracy guy. Weirder than the normal conspiracy guys. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, Brian Thompson has actually escaped to Cuba. He is alive. I have it on good authority that they cooked this up as a psyop to silence dissent. to figure out who is actually saying, oh, this is good. Yeah, inside job. That's right. They did this to create panic against Italians. That's why Luigi Mangione was the fall guy. It's an anti-Italian hit job. That's precisely what's going on. Stay woke.
Arrested, according to the NYPD Wednesday. Police also said the suspect's fingerprints match the ones found on a water bottle and a wrapper found outside a Starbucks, where surveillance video appears to show he was before the killing. The NYPD said his print also matches one found on a cell phone that was recovered in an alley near the hotel. And at the time of his arrest, the NYPD says the suspect had a notebook where he wrote about his disdain for the healthcare industry. Law enforcement sources tell CBS News he wrote about using a bomb, but wrote that a shooting would be more targeted and would not risk innocent lives.
Are you seeing the statements about choosing a gun over a bomb that were allegedly made in this notebook as an admission?
I don't know that they have a confession, but I think they have enough facts, enough of a pattern of facts at this point to say, this shows he was going to do it. This shows how he was going to do it. These pictures show you that he did do it.
Sources tell CBS News Mangione's mother filed a missing persons report in San Francisco just days before the shooting. Friends say they hadn't heard from the suspect for several months.
I remember looking at his face like, that guy looks so familiar.
Dorian Wright says he taught the suspect several times at Power Yoga, Hawaii.
He mentioned to me when I was helping him with the pose, he said, I have a back injury. And I'm like, where's your back injury? And he said, lower back. The goal was he came to our studio to heal himself, and I don't have any bad memories of him.
And Mangione's attorney says that he plans to plead not guilty to all charges. And yesterday, United Health CEO sent a letter to his staff honoring Brian Thompson and stating in part that the company vows to make healthcare better for everyone. Tony?
Sure. Also, manufacturing consent machine going brrrr. We're going to look at these incredible articles real quick. The way that mainstream media is now also trying to, reel back on how excited the broad majority of Americans were on this, or at least how little they cared about a healthcare CEO dying because of their immediate family members. Many of the employees I've talked to share the public anger, which New York Times might realize if they bothered to talk to anyone outside of management. Yeah. Health insurance workers fearful amid public anger after slaying of CEO. If you're actually a health insurance worker at a lower level, if you're a fucking pencil pusher, if you're a paper filer, you probably get fucked over by your healthcare company too. You probably have family members that have been fucked over by your healthcare company. So you probably understand. I wouldn't assume that you have a real interest in like defending your fucking upper management, let alone your bosses. But of course, New York Times has to make it seem like this is a universal problem for all working class, the sympathetic figures. They understand that there is not a lot of sympathy for the CEOs, so they have to universalize it to say like, no, you don't understand. He's like these doctors that are fearful now, these nurses that are fearful. The random paper pushers, the random paper filers, the pencil pushers, those are the fearful guys. They're going to get killed. The difference, however, is that if someone who's in customer service was outed, doxxed, persecuted, and murdered by a vicious person who has also been hurt by the insurance industry, you wouldn't have this kind of press coverage. Well, you might now, just so they can say, oh, look, see, they're going after everybody. But in the past, there would be no such interest in that sort of thing. There would be no bridges being shut down. There would be no manhunt for multiple weeks because you're just a fucking worker. You're worthless. Media would not go out to bat to defend you. And even if they were to do it now, the only reason why they would do it is to defend the likes of other Brian Thompson. And for the record, it would be completely unacceptable if someone were to do such a thing. Just so you understand, I'm not joking at all.
So it's an interesting interaction.
This is a really funny thing that happened, by the way.
Had with the inmates from over the chain link. Tell me about it, Alex.
Yeah, pretty unbelievable moment. And Ashley, I can tell you at this very moment, I can look over my left shoulder up at the top of this prison wall, see through a window, and see that your face is right there. They're watching Banfield at this exact moment as they promised they would. All right, so let's backtrack a little bit, okay? So earlier today, I was reporting outside this prison wall. So, oh my gosh, I'm not sure if you just heard that, Ashley. That was them screaming.
I just waved. Alex, I just waved, and that was the...
Can you hear that?
Hi, guys. Say hello to Alex Capriello.
They said, we got you, Alex. Ashley says hello.
I can't believe this.
There they are. I can't tell if you can hear this.
Oh, we can hear it.
There you go.
Hi, guys.
Look up at that window.
Let me yell them a question. Alex, hold on. Let me yell a question. Guys, if you can hear me clearly,
okay.
Do you guys have any sights on Luigi Mangione? Just yell yes or no. I don't know if they're answering.
They're flickering. They're saying no. Go ahead, ask another one. They can hear you.
Okay. You'll have to translate, Alex.
All right, so earlier today I was reporting outside these prison walls when all of a sudden I heard my name, and I couldn't tell if they were, catcalling me or heckling me or even saying my name whatsoever. And so I started reporting on Luigi Mangione's prison conditions as I was finding them out. And as soon as the live shot was over, that's when I turned around and they said, the conditions suck. And so that was my confirmation. Oh my gosh, they're watching News Nation at that very moment. I pulled out my camera, I recorded, and here's more of that interaction. Take a look from earlier today.
Luigi's conditions suck. Free Luigi.
Ashley, they're going nuts in there right now watching this video on playback. This was just from a few hours ago, and here they are, 10 o'clock as promised. They said earlier today, tell Ashley Banfield that Luigi is watching at 10 o'clock. I mean, obviously, that's just a hard roast at this point because they're not near Luigi in any way, as confirmed by the Department of Corrections earlier today. But at the same time, they've picked a trusted news source to watch this very high-profile national case. Of course, they're watching us.
It's crazy. Hey, Alex, can I ask you a favor? Can I just ask the guys, if they can hear me right now, to answer yes or no very loud? Does Luigi have television in his single cell?
No.
Unreal. They said no, right? Obviously, we have a little bit of a delay, but they're getting they're getting the questions and they're giving us the answers. So Luigi does not have.
This is so fucking dystopian, dude. I mean, I'm sure the imprisoned in this situation, I mean, they feel probably somewhat happy that their humanity is being recognized because they are able to communicate. But it is crazy. Like when you just like pull yourself out of the situation for a moment, it is so fucking dystopian, dude. Having said that, however, I am reminded of Jesse Waters was fantasizing about the other day, saying, oh, if Luigi doesn't get the death penalty, I'm sure they'll handle him in prison. How out of touch are you with the average person, like the average human being, that you can't even comprehend that, like, this dude is not going to be treated as a bad guy in prison. He's not going to get the Chomo treatment. He's not going to get the fucking child predator treatment in prison. Like, why the fuck would they kill them? I suspect that the broad majority of people in prison come from very dire financial circumstances, which means that they most likely have immediate family members who've been fucked over by the same healthcare providers. Yeah. I'm not gonna play the Jesse Waters clip again.
Wow, this is quite something. This is the strangest interview I've ever conducted.
Me too, Ashley. According to the Department of Corrections, he's got his own solitary cell. It's not solitary confinement, but he's by himself. It's not dorm style. I'm not sure exactly what those guys got going on in terms of a living situation. It sounds like they're all clustered together. But as far as Luigi's accommodations, he's by himself. He's got a bed. He's got a chair. He's got a toilet, a sink.
Oh, nice.
Again, he's not with the rest of these guys, but he's not in solitary confinement.
Okay, so I'm going to read out the menu, and then I'm going to ask the guys if it was any good, the dinner tonight. So the breakfast was fruit, grits, bread, eggs, and coffee. He had the choice. The lunch was porcupine meatballs, potatoes, bread, and fruit. And tonight's dinner, mac and cheese, pasta bean casserole, and stewed tomatoes with broccoli. So guys, was dinner good, yes or no? What
terrible,
are they saying?
They're saying.
I heard terrible. I heard terrible.
They're saying heck no. They're saying BS. They're saying terrible. They're saying that's not what they are eating.
Oh man.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's
Officials with the NYPD tell CNN that CEO wanted posters have been seen around the city as fears grow.
I love that they censor the face of the CEOs, like this publicly available information. Yeah, dude, people will have no idea who the CEOs of companies are now. Why do that if you don't think that it's like a broad majority resentment? Why do that anyway? If your opinion is of the mind that these guys are heroes, they're profit makers, and that's a good thing. They're jobs providers. Who do you think is going to see that and do anything mean?
Copycats could target other corporate executives.
Well, Jim, there is a real sense of nervousness and even fear in C-suites really across the country. This fatal shooting in Midtown Manhattan, not far from where I am right now, has been a real wake-up call for business leaders and for boards of directors. The security firms that are paid top dollars to protect executives, they say that their phones have been ringing off the hook ever since this news broke. One veteran security executive told me that corporate America is nervous, and he said healthcare is the target now, but who's next? And so, yes, companies are considering a range of steps to try to ramp up security, including reassessing the security protocols that are already in place and the budgets. They're increasing the number of security personnel and the amount of technology in offices and even in the residences of executives. They're urging executives to delete their digital footprints, including stuff like the floor plans of their homes and any information that's out there about where their kids may go to school. And they're also enhancing mail screening. There's also a sense that this killing really made it clear that companies need to extend the security blanket that exists for those top level CEOs down to their lieutenants, because there are a lot of massive corporations out there like United Healthcare that maybe the security for those division CEOs does not rise to the level that it does for the number one CEO, but perhaps it really should. There's also this growing concern about the risk of a copycat, both because of the positive reaction that this has gotten online and also the level of attention that this suspect has received. A New York Police Department intel report obtained by CNN's John Miller said that the online reaction to the killing may signal an elevated threat facing executives in the near term, with the shooting itself.
Yeah, maybe if people were serious about this, they examined where this anger and resentment was coming from. I mean, this spells societal collapse, and it seems like everyone is more predisposed with defending the current order of business while simultaneously yelling at the angry people instead of looking at why they're angry, how this moment of desperation came about.
Having the capability to inspire a variety of extremists and grievance-driven malicious actors to violence.
New York City's top prosecutor says there could be more charges against the suspected killer of the United Healthcare CEO. And he's also denouncing the growing support that we've seen from some circles for Luigi Mangione.
Celebrating this conduct is abhorrent to me. It's deeply disturbing. And what I would say to members of the public, people who, as you described, are celebrating this and maybe contemplating other action, that we will be vigilant and we will hold people accountable. We are at the ready.
The Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg there making that promise after wanted posters targeting other healthcare executives were seen posted around New York City today. Joining me here tonight, Nicholas Florco, staff writer for The Atlantic, who argues in a new post, quote, "Murder is an awful answer for healthcare anger." And he joins me now, and it's great to have you because you also used to work.
Wow, brilliant take, man. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, no, I don't think. I like that these guys just keep saying like murder is bad over and over again. Yeah, everybody knows, man. That's kind of part of the reason why they're fucking angry. Yeah, you get this like top-down approach to the subject, and you look at it like, well, this is a individual act of violence. Like, why are you celebrating it? Yeah, to the person who's fucking, you know, loved ones had their insurance claims denied, so they were just like, all right, fuck it, like I'm just gonna die. Well, that's murder. Just because it is structured in a way to shelter those who are committing this act of murder, making it seem like it's just a regular part of the process, doesn't change the loss of life for the individual. It doesn't change that at all.
Stat, which is a healthcare publication, covers United Healthcare previously. So I understand you probably are deeply familiar with the anger that so many people feel towards the healthcare industry. But the idea that you people are using that to celebrate the murder of a father of two children is just kind of stunning.
It really is. I mean, I'm used to people being angry about healthcare my entire career. People have been angry about health insurance, about healthcare prices. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, the amount of outpouring of support for Luigi Mangione and the amount of hate going to the United CEO is just, it's unprecedented.
Yeah, but we've seen some people say, well, the reaction that we've seen to beef up security for these CEOs or to focus on that is them focusing on the wrong issue. But in looking at that, I mean, we're also seeing people put up wanted posters with their faces. I just want to show some people who maybe aren't, you know, as prolific on social media as others, the reaction that we've seen towards the suspect here online.
This Ivy League hottie named Luigi is the Robin Hood that we never knew that we needed.
Yo, you know what's really funny about this? I think the average person, aside from like, yeah, healthcare should be free, is also literally not even fucking focused on like the morality of the conversation at all. Like they just don't give a shit. And they're way more predisposed with how this guy is probably framed as a patsy. Like the average apolitical guy is like Bradley Martin, who I was talking to last night on stream. And he was like, yeah, dude, his eyebrows don't match. Like, that's what the average person is predisposed with. They're like, the media is like freaking out, being like, oh, which CEOs are next? This is like unacceptable. Don't you dare disrupt the current order of business. Like, this is not the answer. Violence is never the answer, except for the socialized murder and violence of like random people at the behest of the profit motive in our for-profit structure that we've designed that is cruel and unusual. But the average person is literally like, yeah, I think Luigi Mangione is a fall guy. The average person's like, bro, 286, bro, you see that conspiracy? It's the 286 Pokemon and the Bible verse or whatever the fuck people are focused on in terms of the conspiracies.
I listened to Luigi's manifesto this morning 3 times and I cried. Honestly, it's beautiful and I agree with him.
At least he left a very powerful message and he highlighted how terrible the healthcare system is in America. I think he'll go down as a hero in history.
What does that say to you?
I mean, it tells me that people are really angry about the state of healthcare in this country and that they're feeling kind of hopeless. I mean, to me, what it symbolizes that people are moving towards this, glorifying violence because they feel like something can't get done otherwise. I mean, I would argue, frankly, that is the absolute wrong way to go in every way possible. We know that nonviolent protest is more effective than violent protest. And I think we all should agree that killing a CEO isn't going to change anything to make our healthcare system better.
Yeah.
Wait, that's crazy. Did we get fucking free healthcare? Because I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's been a lot of protests on that stuff. There's even been violent protests, really, like riots, Black Lives Matter protests turned into riots. That was like all the headlines. Shit just doesn't change at all. until people in positions of power recognize that this is unstable, you know?
And Senator Elizabeth Warren was facing some blowback today because when she was asked about this, she told the Huffington Post, the visceral response from people across this country who feel cheated, ripped off, and threatened by the vile practices of their insurance companies should be a warning to everyone in the healthcare system. Violence is never the answer, she said, but people can only be pushed so far. I saw some people saying, you know, that should end it. Violence is never the answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Senator Warren has struggled with what a lot of us that have been talking about this have been struggling with, which is balancing both the fact that our healthcare system causes real harm and real suffering, and that murder is absolutely incorrect. The thing that I think is important to highlight is, unfortunately, Senator Warren is right in a lot of ways. We know from history that society...
Bro, for the person whose immediate family member was harmed by for-profit healthcare, they look at it as like a serial killer, okay? Like, that's it. And as conditions worsen, especially when there's already a steady desensitization that like the average American experiences in terms of like the most horrific acts of violence, whether it be in fucking Gaza or whether it be like the endless, senseless slaughter of children in American kindergartens and shit. Yeah, they're not going to give a fuck, dude. You can't just prime people into being like, no. Mass school shootings and mass shootings are just a part of American existence year over year because you want no solutions to gun violence. And then expect them to be like, oh, the horror, when a guy who is seen as a placeholder for their grandma fucking dying gets popped. That's it. It's that simple. You can't have both. Like, what the expectation that people are supposed to be respectful about this is so funny to me. It's like, dude, yeah, of course they're mad, dude. What the fuck? The idea that like Elizabeth Warren, oh, it's really unacceptable that she said this. It's ridiculous.
Societies devolve into political violence when people feel like they are the victim. They see very clear inequality and they lose faith in our democratic institutions. So I think the point that Senator Warren is making is right, that these factors can lead to violence, but I just think it wasn't said in the right way.
Did you hear from people that you used to speak with in the healthcare industry after you wrote this, or just given, you know, your past where you worked, what people inside that industry have said about this?
I mean, I think people are just scared. I mean, we're seeing the insurance companies taking their CEOs' photos off of the internet. We're seeing companies working from home. I mean, we've never seen anything like this. I mean, when you have people putting up wanted posters in New York City with people's faces on them, you have to wonder if they're right. They have to be careful.
Yeah, I mean, to see the wanted posters is quite something. To if you are one of those healthcare CEOs, to see that and targeting in that way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you see it as anything but intimidation. And I mean, frankly, I think and I hope that people will see those and think this is awful, but it only takes one person to cause chaotic trouble.
Yeah, it's an important piece. I'm glad you wrote it, and thank you for coming on here to talk about it tonight. Nicholas Florco, it's great to have you.
Thank you so much.
I just don't think that they're going to be able
Breaking
to...
news,
I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I think a lot of Americans are very stupid. They do get their notes, especially older people get their notes from television. And if television consistently keeps saying over and over again, like, this is really fucked up, don't do it, don't say anything, how dare you? You know, if they keep doing that over and over again, maybe some of your parents and your grandparents and shit will have a different opinion overall. But I just don't think they can finger wag their way out of this. You know what I mean? I don't think you could just be like, wow, it's really fucked up that you're upset about healthcare. Can you please stop? Come on, just peacefully protest, please, instead. That was much easier to ignore. What if the CEO didn't have a wife and kids? What would be the humanizing angle then law? I mean, I don't think the fact that the CEO has a wife and kids has been enough for people to be like, oh yeah, let me reconsider. Like, they just don't give a fuck. People just don't care. And I understand why they don't care. Because poor people die every fucking day. And we've been trained into thinking that there is no value. There's no worthiness to human life. So yeah, it's going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard for people to turn around and be like, okay, well, you know, mass shootings are happening daily. School shootings are happening daily, weekly, whatever, right? And there's no solutions to that. But when some CEO dies, like, I'm supposed to fucking feel bad? Like, what do you mean?
Alleged CEO killer Luigi Mangione denied bail, as many people are sympathizing with him online tonight. The book Delay, Deny, Defend, which is about the health insurance industry's tactics, jumping to number 2 on Amazon's nonfiction bestsellers list. Number 2. Safe to say that book would never have been anywhere near number 2 if it were not for Luigi Mangione. Those 3 words, delay, deny, defend, were almost identical to the ones found on shell casings near the crime scene. And on Yelp, the McDonald's, where he was apprehended, has been hit with a flood of 1-star reviews, calling the employees, quote, snitches and rats. Jason Carroll is out front.
This Ivy League hottie named Luigi is the Robin Hood that we never knew that we needed.
I listened to Luigi's manifesto this morning 3 times and I cried. Honestly, it's beautiful and I agree with him.
At least he left a very powerful message, and he highlighted how terrible the healthcare system is in America. I think he'll go down as a hero in history.
He had been a named suspect for less than 48 hours, and yet, within a fraction of that time, many in the world of social media had already made up their minds about Luigi Mangione.
I'm just eating it up because this is like regular everyday person becoming our hero, our vigilante.
Also, like, you think these people are card-carrying communists? The people making these fucking TikToks and shit? Like, you think these are people who are like the proletariat must rise up and seize the means of production type people? No, not even a little bit. No, they're just regular ass people who are like, yeah, I totally get why he was fucking pissed off. Have you ever had your fucking insurance claims denied?
These types of comments angering law enforcement and public officials.
I don't care your views about healthcare companies because I don't think they're great right now either. But you do not celebrate the assassination of another human being who was just doing his job.
But interest in Mangione just continues to grow. On X, before his arrest announcement, he had just 64 followers. Now, more than 320,000 and counting. His initial 827 followers on Instagram grew exponentially Monday as we watched. By 3 o'clock, more than 32,000. An hour later, 53,000. By 5 o'clock Monday, more than 71,000 followers before that account was suspended. Many of the comments calling for his freedom and calling him a hero.
Hear me on this. He is no hero. The real hero in this story.
Yeah, that's not gonna fly, man. I'm gonna be honest. Like, that's just not the real hero. Is the person who snitched is not the message that you want to carry across. I think Elizabeth Warren has done a much better job talking about this. High school students across the country have been walking out of class in solidarity with Luigi Mangione. Yesterday, over 1,400 students walked out of school at 10 a.m. to show what we believe in. Where's the other? There was another thing that I wanted to cover here. Hold on. Oh, AOC.
You know, taken from a diagnosis. And I think that this collective American experience, which is so twisted to have in the wealthiest nation in the world, all of that pain that people have experienced is being concentrated on this event. And it's really important that we take a step back. This is not to comment, and this is not to say that an act of violence is justified. But I think for anyone who is confused or shocked or appalled, they need to understand that people interpret and feel and experience denied claims as an act of violence against them. People go homeless over the financial devastation of...
Yep. Great way to talk about it. You can say sell out AOC all day, every day. I don't give a fuck. These are the moments where she shines. No, that's a fucking fantastic take. Dude, you're never gonna hear a Democratic elected turn around and be like, yo, that guy was fucking based. Your dumbass will say it. And that's one thing. But obviously, a person in a position of power like this is not going to fucking say that. But the very fact that both AOC and Elizabeth Warren, who I have been critical of on different occasions, were very quick to say, we need to seize on this opportunity to talk about like why people feel this level of resentment. That's it. That's what you got to get out of this. You're stupid for thinking that it's going to be anything more than that. She got $150,000 in donations from UHC. Okay. Do you think she's for-profit healthcare then? It seems like those donos didn't work. considering her rhetoric here. Here's what Elizabeth Warren had to say as well. We're gonna talk about this after I'm done.
Of a diagnosis that doesn't get addressed, or, you know, the amount that they're going to have to cover with a surprise bill and things like that. And when we kind of talk about how systems are violent in this country, in this passive way, our privatized healthcare system is like that for a huge amount of Americans. I mean, I did not have health insurance until I got elected to Congress. I was running. When I first ran for Congress, I had to sit in a free clinic while waiting.
You have to rate politicians on a curve. This is a good coverage of it in the mainstream media.
Let's be honest, since we're having an honest conversation. The reality in this country is, if you kill people with a gun, it is very obvious to everybody what's going on, and you're rightly deplored. And we should deplore that. If it is a more systemic kind of killing, as your social media person was saying, if people are being killed through PDF files and through claim denial letters and through a deliberate practice of...
My brain is so broken, and I know chat is the same way, because you hear PDF files and you immediately think, oh, he's using internet speak to say pedophile, like immediately. And I hate myself for it. And God damn it, this community is fucking so like-minded on this. Oh my God. Instantly, my brain and so many others' brain in the chat went to, oh, he's saying pedophiles.
Saying no to a certain form of care that you know you're going to end up granting, but if you say no, 80% of people will lose steam and not appeal successfully, and you'll only have to give it to 20% of those people, and you factor that into your balance sheet. And if that is not an incidental thing that happens or bad apples, that's actually how you make money, because the health insurance industry is an industry that doesn't really exist in many other countries because they just take care of each other as part of the society. You cannot expect to live in a society in which that rage goes nowhere, just fizzles out and dissipates. And we have to deplore violence and then be curious about where it's coming from.
Suspected United killing was Ivy Leaguer with anti-capitalist leanings. Yeah, they're trying desperately to turn this into like a hypocritical socialist. They're desperate to make it seem like that. But I think it doesn't work. Here's what Elizabeth Warren had to say as well, by the way.
What happens when you turn this into the billionaires run it all is they get the opportunity to squeeze every last penny.
Yeah.
And look, we'll say it over and over. Violence is never the answer. This guy gets a trial who's allegedly killed the CEO of United Health. But you can only push people so far. And then they start to take matters into their own hands.
Yeah.
What happens when you turn this into...
Any Democratic nominee that doesn't go out to bat for a universal healthcare or soft expansion is going to be so funny in 2024. I think this party is finished. They're going to push progressives to advocate for small expansions as platform. Yeah. I think they're literally not going to do it. The Democrats are physically incapable of doing right by their constituents, or even like taking advantage of the understandable anger that people have in their hearts towards this system. And that's it. That's where we're at. I get it. Like, I know the anger that Luigi Mangione felt, and I know why people don't give a fuck. I get it. So no amount of finger wagging in this direction is going to cause people to change their opinions on this when their fucking family members are being killed, you know? It's the same. This is partially what happened with the Democrats losing the goddamn election, right? Everyone was like, bro, wages are not competing with the price of goods. Price of goods have outpaced wage expansion. And the Democrats were like, nah, shit's fine, dude. Shit's fine. Chill. What are you talking about? Well, it's fine. Calm down. And what happened? They fucking lost. People are so mad that they're like, yeah, I don't give a fuck that some CEO got killed. Shut the fuck up. Fix this goddamn healthcare. And the Democrats are like, well, best we can do is maybe if you are under the coverage of certain kinds of Medicare or certain kinds of healthcare, we will actually reduce the price of one piece of pharmaceutical product Marginal. And that's the best we can do. And it's like, yeah, people don't see that. People don't care. They don't see that that's a good thing. Like, they don't see it as a marginal improvements are not going to fix it. It's the Malcolm X quote about a knife in your back. This is the chosen liberal cope line right now. Concepts of a plan was one of the most memorable lines of the entire campaign, and Harris hit Trump for it during literally every single one of her stump speeches. Yeah. It's cool that we just had a presidential election where healthcare basically never came up. Marginal improvement might have worked in 2016, but definitely not now. Fuck no. Marginal improvement might not. No, that's incorrect. I don't think you understand. If you think that marginal improvement might have worked in 2016, you fail to understand the anger and resentment that people felt when they voted for Donald Trump.
You feel, however, that we're making progress in this country and worldwide?
No. I will never say that progress is being made. If you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. You pull it all the way out, that's not progress. The progress is healing the wound that's a blow made. And they haven't even begun to pull a knife out, much less try and heal the wound.
People don't even acknowledge that a knife exists.
They won't even admit the knife is there.
Yeah, that is the wonderful attitude that the Democrats have. That's it. Anyway, my dad used to say the Republicans stab you in the heart and the Democrats stab you in the back. Ben Shapiro came after our big, beautiful boy, Bill Burr, by the way. And yes, I will be watching the Video Game Awards later. Calm down. So I want to show you Ben Shapiro has not given up on this issue. I don't know why he's that hard I don't know why he's this hard-headed and he hasn't like dropped this.
Folks, the reason
and moved on to some other shit that is more favorable for him. He is just like, nope. He's just like, no, we're going to talk about this.
Alrighty, folks, well,
no matter what, we're just going to keep pumping this fucking situation. And this time he's coming after Bill Burr.
Yesterday, Luigi Mangione, who is the alleged of the United Healthcare CEO, he had been arrested in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and he was brought into the courthouse in Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania, where he immediately began shouting at the...
Chat, tell me how many dislikes this has. Ben saying Bill is disconnected from reality is insanely ironic. My insurance denied our claim when my third child was born. It wasn't a mistake. We fought with them for 2 months over it, and they finally agreed to pay. The right and left agree on this issue. The healthcare system is broken. We, the regular people, are the ones suffering, not millionaires. I feel like I'm being gaslit, suggesting that the CEO of the biggest healthcare insurance company in the U.S. has zero effect on anything around him. Oh, now they're at 50-50? Finally, it's gotten down to 50-50 for Ben.
The press, it's not totally clear what he is saying here, but here is video of him emerging from a police car and being ushered into the jailhouse where he...
All right, get to the Bill Burr
problems.
part.
This means you get to shoot people, which has some sort of surfing accident where he had a really bad back injury that apparently left him in crippling pain. And he had a surgery that is very often unsuccessful that implanted a series of pins in his spine. And he presumably was having some sort of fights with some health insurance company, but that is totally unclear. And he did leave a manifesto. His manifesto is very short. It's 262 words. And it is worth exploring because it is a window into the mind of people who tend to believe that because the world is filled with problems, this means you get to shoot people, which is unfortunately a growing sentiment on the left and even some parts of the right. So here is what...
There's something so funny about Ben saying this because, like, has there been a right-wing shooter that Ben hasn't said is good? Like, when right-wingers engage in vigilante justice against those who are powerless, ultimately, Ben loves that shit. He loves it all day, every day. He hypes that shit up. Ben loves it when Israel is shooting. Wait, I'm in this video? Ben loves it when... At what, 42?
Us pleasing.
Oh, nice. Oh, he's talking about my Lena Khan interview. Anyway, Ben loves it when Israel kills children, Israel shoots children, Israel fucking snipes children. He loves that shit.
But I do not have the space and frankly do not pretend to be the most qualified person to lay out the full argument. In other words, he didn't have a solution for any of the health insurance problems in the country. And those problems are quite real because the United States has a very heavily subsidized and regulated healthcare system. Insurance is not actually insurance. It's actually just health coverage. Insurance, as we mentioned yesterday on the show, would imply that you are making a bet with the insurance company that something bad might happen to you, and the insurance company is betting that it will not happen to you. That is obviously not how healthcare works in the United States, because no company in their right mind would bet that, for example, you won't need a checkup next week. Right? That would be a stupid bet. So this isn't insurance at all. It's health coverage that is provided at discount based on government subsidy and also based on collective risk pooling. Okay, that's actually how the system works, and the system doesn't work particularly well in a lot of ways.
I love that he's going back to his roots. This is extremely my shit. This is old hat Ben. This is how he used to do. This is the commentary they used to get out of him. For people who wanted to come across as like intelligent. He is going to try to explain away the concept of insurance in the United States of America and basically defend it on principle to say that like it must exist and it's good that it exists and that it's actually a lot better in America than the way that you think it is, to an audience who's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You can't, this is literally fucking Vibe Session 2.0. This is like when the Will Stancils of the world try to explain away to the fucking average working class person who's like, dog, everything is so expensive. What the fuck is going on? That it's just in your mind, actually. You don't understand. It's just in your mind. This also is identical to Destiny's argument from yesterday. Well, actually, the working poor deserve to starve.
It works better than many of the other systems, including nationalized healthcare. But the point there is that the alleged shooter himself.
Okay, where are the facts for that? You got any facts for that? It works better than other systems, including nationalized healthcare. Hasan eats poop. This is what I think of you. Nice, man. So what kind of facts is Ben representing for this? Does he have any facts at all? It works better than any other OECD nation? It doesn't.
Is angry at a system that he says he does not fully understand and he has no proper solutions for. And by the way, he happens to be wrong on the merits. So when he says that the United States has the most expensive healthcare system in the world, but we rank roughly number 42 in life expectancy, there's an excellent thread from a person named Jeremy.
Wait, he's right. What the fuck?
Kaufman, laying out some of the statistics with regard to the United States healthcare system. And the point that he makes is that healthcare spending in all countries tracks income. In other words, the more people get rich, the more they spend on healthcare. And this is true across countries. Here, for example, is a chart of health spending increasing rapidly with real income.
Wait a minute. So our healthcare is more costly because we're richer. Sure, there is a level of that. It's somewhat understandable. Okay, we're a richer nation, which means that we have, the pay for doctors is going to be higher. Fine, fair. Okay. The pay for a nurse is going to be higher than other countries. Fair. Okay, wages. But there's no reason for the fucking same medicine that's going to the United States to be an entirely different price point. It's the same medicine going to the European markets. I wonder why it's so much more expensive in the United States of America. Oftentimes, the distribution patents are not even held by the same companies, for the record. American healthcare, the American pharmaceutical market is so busted that the distribution patent for the United States of America and Canada is oftentimes separate from the distribution patent for the entire fucking planet. That's how large of a market the American healthcare market is, the American pharmaceutical market is. So what the fuck's that about? How does that work? Anyway, in terms of healthcare spending increases rapidly with real incomes, this is only part of the equation, just so you understand.
So if, for example, you live in Hungary and you have a significantly lower income, you're going to spend less on your healthcare. And as your income rises, you're going to spend more on your healthcare. That is true everywhere. It is true in Norway. It is true in Canada. It is true in Italy. It is true in Spain. It is true everywhere. It is almost a straight line arithmetic correlation here. That as you make more money, you spend more money on your healthcare, which of course makes sense because you care very deeply about your healthcare. That is not a giant shock. As it turns out, if you actually correlate healthcare costs.
What's funny about this is that, yes, what he's describing is normal market conditions, except given the factor that inelastic demand exists in healthcare, as in, if you don't have healthcare, you fucking die, okay? Other countries, other OECD nations that are on that list have actually either so severely regulated their marketplaces because of that inelastic demand, or just have some semblance of socialized structure there. That is exactly what keeps those prices down. It's not just about wage increases that cause healthcare costs to go up, okay? His argument hinges on the crazy idea that $100,000 of MRI is more healthcare than an MRI that costs $10,000. Exactly. In many instances, the procedure is the same procedure, but the price is infinitely higher. It's not even that I'm pretty sure he cooked that graph somehow. The U.S. is well documented as spending way more per capita than normalized the cost of living on average. I know. That's the other part of this as well. I assume that this graph is misleading, but this is the idiotic chart that Matty Iglesias put forth that is so easily destroyed. Two charts you need to look at simultaneously to understand. Americans spend far more than foreigners out-of-pocket for healthcare. Americans have a relatively low out-of-pocket share of healthcare spending. This is a fucking insane thing. Average out-of-pocket health spending per capita, Americans spend far more than most of these other countries, okay? Household out-of-pocket spending as a share of current health expenditures, on the other hand, is much lower. It's using a logarithmic y-axis and a linear x-axis. It's not really an exponential relationship and not linear. Yeah. The problem is, if an American goes to the doctor and gets billed $10,000 but has insurance that covers $6,000 of it, and a European goes to the doctor and gets billed $65 and doesn't have insurance, Matt Iglesias thinks that that American is getting a better deal. So why is it that Matt Iglesias thought that this would be a fantastic fucking way to stop people from getting mad at their healthcare? How? Yeah. Getting $10,000 bill for the MRI econ, bro. You have simply consumed more MRI than any other nation. Yeah, this is the Jeremy Kauffman take that everyone is dunking on. The U.S. spends more money on healthcare because it consumes more. Or the richer the country is, the more healthcare it consumes. You don't understand, you fool, you idiot. The same procedure is simply you're doing more of it. It's the same fucking procedure. You can literally track this against pharmaceutical costs. It's the same drug. It's literally the same drug. There is no reason. There's no reason for an American to pay more for the same fucking drug. It's not a different drug. It's not a better drug. And if you actually look at the healthcare outcomes overall, because we're so bad, because our life expectancy is so much worse than other comparable OECD nations, we must be taking the worst drugs, I guess. Well, the reality is we're not taking the drugs at all. That is the problem. I think in the most conservative estimates, 20 to 30% of the overall untimely demise comes from, I think, a lack of health care. And that's the most conservative estimates, 30%. There's obviously plenty of other factors that play into our life expectancy being low. Some of the most immediate factors are mass availability of guns, another problem that we will never fix because gun violence is actually responsible for the death of many people before they die at the normal age that they would die. Our bad diets are some of the invisible factors at play here. Even non-walkable cities devoid of public transit factors into why American life expectancy is so low. There's also the opiate crisis. It's true.